Let's see what we have rolling in today. Oh, looks like we got us a 69 Hot Wheels Light My Firebird. Doesn't look to be in too bad a shape. Let's get it drilled and get it taken apart and see what we got. Here I'm using a center punch. And these old Redlines, the rivets or posts are really small, so you got a better chance of doing center punch and shielded drilling without blowing out the post. So yeah, definitely suggest using these. Shielded drilling is great tool. Here I'm taking off just that last little bit of the post that's still holding the bottom on. As you can see the red fluid on the back of the car there. That's the oil that I use for tapping. I always suggest using tapping oil of some sort. It'll help keep your drill bit sharp and help the flutes in the drill bit. Helps the metal you've drilled out slide up the flutes. As you can see on this front one, I didn't have it drilled out quite big enough, so I'm going to go one step larger drill bit just to get that edge off. And there you see it popped it right off. And here we take it apart, see what kind of condition it's in. It doesn't look too bad. Body itself is in pretty good condition. Glass and interior were fine. Let's get the post drilled out the rest of the way so we can get some self-tapping 172 screws in there. What I do a lot of times, I'll flatten these off with a grinding tool and then center punch it, and then I use a drill press, which you'll see here in just a minute. It's a lot easier to use a drill press than take a chance of blowing out them posts. You do that on one or two red lines and you could have just bought a drill press. Body looks pretty good here though. Interior's fine. We have to get some super clean out here for the interior and put the glass in there. Then we got the 50-50 mix of CLR and water. We'll toss the base and the motor in to get some of the tarnish off. Now with that mixture, you don't want to leave it in there too long, no more than probably 3.5 to 4.5 minutes. If you leave it in any longer than this, it'll start to turn the metal black, and it's nearly impossible to get all that staining out of the metal at that point. So yeah, don't let it stay in there that long. You'll definitely regret it if you do. Alright, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, here you see me using the steel wire brush to polish up the motor. I'll be doing this with the body here in just a minute too. Yeah, make sure that when you're doing this you're using safety equipment, some safety glasses, because these little wires on these steel brushes fly all over the place. Especially if you use them on a Dremel tool. I'm using them on a drill here, but a Dremel tool has a lot higher RPM speed, so they tend to fly out a lot faster. You end up looking like a porcupine. Here you see me doing the same thing to the base. And then after this we'll break out some flits also. Great product. Have to thank both the Paulies, Paul over at Diecast Graveyard and Paul at Fat Guy Productions. They're always suggesting new products, and Flitz and Renaissance Wax are two of the products that I've picked up and started using that both of those guys have suggested. They're both excellent products. Make sure when you're doing these bases, you go both ways, as far as back and forth and then side to side, so you can get in all the crevices and all the little nooks and crannies. So if you don't, you'll have a bunch of shadowing and dark areas in all those nooks and crannies, and it just doesn't look very good in the end result. And that looks like it's about right. Here we go. Break out the flits. Doesn't take too much, you know. A little bit to go a long ways with this. You want to have your rotary tool or Dremel set on a low speed so you're not just burning the product instead of polishing with it. You can always put more on if you need to after the first application. But yeah, no use in wasting it by putting too much on in the beginning. And notice I'm going back and forth side to side. And then here in a minute I'll turn it and go the other direction just to make sure we get in all them spots. You know, take as long as you need to on this part. You know, it's like polishing a piece of jewelry. It's going to do nothing but look better in the end. There you see me turning sideways and coming back across it. Heck, you can even see from here how shiny it's getting. It looks great. Really impressed with the way this one's turning out. Hopefully I can do just as well with the paint on it. Yeah, even though it's little, still gonna do a little bit of flits on the motor as well. Like I said, it's just like a piece of jewelry. I'm just shining up the diamond. Another thing you want to remember after doing this, especially with the car body, before you paint, you're going to want to dip it in some degreaser, such as Super Clean, and rinse it and wash it underneath some water. Make sure you get all the contaminants off, otherwise you'll have problems with your paint sticking. Here you see me getting the post ready for the drilling again. Get the final drill with the drill press. That was me grinding it flat. Dimple the middle. I remember when I first started trying to do these, I didn't know these tricks as far as using the drill press and the center punch and the shoulder drilling. I was trying to do it with just a regular drill bit and freehanding it, and yeah, I blew out quite a few posts in my first few cars. So yeah, like Paul over at Diecast Graveyard says, you know, practice this on a few mainline dollar cars first before you start going and try and do something like a Redline. You blow out a post on a Redline, you know, it's not a dollar loss, you just lost $20 or $30. So take your time, learn it on the main lines, and then step up. I can't reiterate just how much nicer it is to use a little drill press. You know, most people don't want to spend the money on it, but I think I paid $89 for this. Like I said, you ruin 2 or 3 Redline posts. You know, that's your $80, $90 right there. And since I've had this, I haven't ruined a single post, so I'm happy with it. Something I won't change. Okay, that's about deep enough. Looks like we're just about ready. Let's go get the body stripped. Let's get it sprayed here with some regurgitation juice. Of course it's regurgitation juice. What do you think I was going to call it? I'm a gargoyle. Spray a nice little coat on it. Make sure you're wearing a mask when you do this because the fumes are very harmful. Let it sit for a few minutes, and yeah, here in just a couple minutes you'll be able to brush that right off. Now, a lot of people don't like using these kinds of strippers. A lot of people use the citrus strip. I use that too, but I was trying to get this done in a decent amount of time today, so you know, it's quite a bit faster than the citrus strip. Citrus strip, you're looking about a half hour or so to take all the paint off. And this, as you can see, was, you know, 5 minutes if that. Looks like it came off great. And the body's looking excellent. Really liking the way all this is coming together. It's almost like you can't even tell it's a first video. Alright, here we are, back with all the paint stripped off. It's oh yeah, we're gonna put some Renaissance wax on. Put that on the bottom of the base. What it is, the microcrystalline wax that a lot of museums use. This is one of the things from Fat Guy Productions. And then there you saw the gauzy. We did a dip of the windshield in gauzy. It wasn't really scratched up too bad. Just a quick dip, and then set it on a paper towel to dry. Now we're going to put the Renaissance wax on the base, smear it in, let it sit there for a couple minutes, and then just wipe off the excess. That's all you got to do. This is one of those things that Paulie over Fat Guy Productions turned us all on to. He does coin rings, and he used it for those, and then, you know, brought it over to the diecast community. But yeah, it's a great restoration piece, and museums use it to protect jewelry and things all the time. Yeah, we gotta get some wheels. Let's see what we got. Oh, look, the wheel truck is here just in time. Alright, you gave me my wheels, beat it. Alright, well, let's go try to get some paint on this. Here we are in the paint booth. Once again, like I stated before, you always want to make sure that you have your personal safety equipment. Make sure you're wearing a respirator mask of some sort when you're doing this. Notice I'm starting out doing coat in the inside in the hard to reach areas, all the wheel wells and such. Do that, and then do a somewhat light coat on the outside. This is Spectra Flame Blue that I'm using. You want to do a light coat, otherwise it tends to run. Let that light coat set up just a little bit, and then you can spray increasingly heavier coats as you go. Luckily I live in Arizona, so there's very, very low humidity here, and stuff is like instantly tacky almost. So yeah, you can tell I can just pretty much almost keep spraying as long as I keep rotating the car. Use a little bit of the air once in a while to help dry the paint in between coats. There I'm using some of the air to help dry it, checking it over, and it's looking pretty nice. So let's get it off here. I'm going to take and put it on this little drying block that I built. I have a new tool that I'm getting ready to try that hopefully will work out as good as I want it to work. You know, I've heard of a lot of guys using food dehydrators to dry their paint jobs. I ended up ordering something off of Amazon. It's a flour dehydrator. It's a lot cheaper. It's only, I think I paid $49 for it if I remember right. And it goes from 100 degrees to 240 degrees. So you can adjust the temperature, and it has a timer. It's a pretty cheap thing, but you know, it seems to work pretty well in some of the videos I watched, so we'll see how it does for this here in just a minute, as soon as I get this last coat of paint on here. The caveat to having this dryer is that it supposedly you can dry things within an hour or two, as opposed to a lot of times when you paint with Spectra Flame, or you know, you put a clear coat on, you don't want to touch it for 24 to 48 hours because you're afraid of leaving fingerprints or smudges or, you know, haziness or whatever in the paint. So I'm hoping that this will decrease my dry time and I don't have to worry about that as much. Because yeah, I can't name the number of times that I've had to redo a paint job because I touched it too soon because I was impatient. Couple of little final touches here, and let's head on over to the drying booth and see what we can do with it. This is my OCD kicking. I'm just never happy. Gotta keep a little more, a little more. There we go. I think we're ready. And there we are. We'll put it on about 20 minutes and we'll let it sit there and bake and see how it goes. And we're going to switch over the tires and stuff while it's drying. See if we can't get this base ready to go back together. Beautiful tires. These are purchased from brightvision.com. They're the reproduction Redlines. So easy, so easy. All you do is pop the old Redlines off and pop the new ones on. Look, paint's all dried, all ready to go. Got the gloss on, it's all dry. Looks like we're ready to put this car back together. Let's give our creation life. Here we go, I got the motor, it's all tapped out. It also has a 172 self-tapping screw that I put in the bottom of it. Drop it back in the engine bay and put the screw in to hold it in place. Now the particular screw that I'm using here on this particular car are 1/8 inch 172s. You can also get them in longer lengths, which actually come in really handy when you're preparing that post. If you go and you grind it down too far, that extra length screw will still allow you to be able to put the screw in and it reach the post to attach that bottom. So yeah, the longer ones come in handy. Also, if you use the black anodized ones, the threads are actually just a hair thicker than the silver stainless steel self-tapping screws. So yeah, if you have a hole that it just seems like it's not quite tight in here, it's just a hair stripped out, try using one of the black anodized screws, and a lot of times it fixes it perfectly. Here I go with my fumble fingers, trying to get the little 172 screws so I can put them in the bottom plate. I was born with fat fingers. Sorry. It's okay though, my wife likes them. And that, folks, is why this is a 14 plus video. And got this just about done. It's looking pretty good. I'm really thinking about one of those electric screwdrivers that Polly over Fat Guy Productions did a review on, the Fantic. Might have to get me one of those. It'd make this part so much easier. And there we are. Got a little bit of details, a couple details. We need to do up the taillights in the front, and that's pretty much all we got left. Let's see what we're gonna do here. Got me a brand new black extra fine oil-based Sharpie. Just picked that up earlier today. I've been wanting that, so I can use it for the grill, and I'll use this red oil pin that I got for the tail lights. It's pretty much all the details that the Hot Wheels did on these early Redlines. Once in a while you'll have a painted base, but yeah, we're not on this particular car. Brand new marker, got to get the paint out of it. There we go. Sorry, my big old meat paws are in the way of the shot there, but I'm just coloring in the front of the grill. You're not missing too much. And there it is. So let's take a look at what we started with, and then get the car up on the turntable and see what we came up with. Here we go. 1969 Light My Firebird. Fairly good shape. Wheels knee replaced. Like that tarnished bottom. Paint chips. We're going to do a number on it. And look at that. Thing of beauty. Beautiful. Must say, I'm very happy with the way this came out, especially for my first video. Hope you guys like and subscribe and enjoy.